And this weekend, Team USA takes on Sweden in the knockout round of the World Cup. The two-time defending champions have had a tough time so far in the World Cup compared to their last two. Joining us now is sports business journalist Daniel Kaplan. So, Daniel, so much pressure is on these women right now. How tough is it for them to have everyone anticipating a win this year?
Well, perhaps the most famous female athlete of all time, arguably the most important, Billie Jean King, has a very famous phrase she likes. In fact, I think one of her books was named after it. Pressure is a privilege. When you're a high-profile athlete on a team like this, pressure is just part of the game. So yes, there is a ton of pressure, and probably whoever wins this World Cup will be the team that deals with the pressure best.
Yeah, it's a physical and a mental game, that is for sure. So this week we spoke to soccer legend Ambi Wambach, and I'd like to get your take on what she had to say about some calling this team the underdog. Here's the clip, and then we'll be back.
That's amazing that they're considered underdogs. That's not a position that our national team often finds itself. But the truth is the way that the tournament is set up is it's kind of two different tournaments. You have group stage and then you have the knockout round stage. And now we're in the knockout round stage. So it's an opportunity for them to hit the reset button, to start over, you have a new lease on life, so to speak. And so what I'm hoping to see is a team that is paying attention to what the world is saying, because guess what that is? That is the best motivation for any athlete, because all of us are out there to try to prove something, and there's nothing better, especially if you're given the underdog title.
So, Daniel, how different are the knockout rounds compared to the group rounds? Is it really a clean slate, like Abby called it?
Well, I mean, clearly it's a clean slate in that they can put their poor performance behind them. The betting odds are not that this team is the underdog. Yes, as Abby said, teams often like to, and athletes like to, play the underdog card and use that as motivation. But even though they're playing Sweden, which is a top team, they are favored in this game. So if you put money down on the game, the higher odds are on Sweden to lose.
So how would you define this team? I know you've been watching them closely. Is there anything that stands out to you this year about the players and about how they play as a group out on the field?
Well, it's interesting. There was a story just this morning in the Wall Street Journal about that the players that are used to quick action and lightning strikes, and the other teams play the ball more or dribble pass the ball more. The percentage of balls passed for the other teams are far higher than with this team. So it seems like the rest of the world is catching up to the U.S. and it's not a surprise as the opportunities for women's sports grows, not just in this country but other countries. Remember, it was just a few years ago that the University of Connecticut basketball team was winning every game by 40 or 50 points, and people were saying, could anyone beat them? And now there's much more depth in women's college basketball. We're seeing that now in women's soccer.
So, Daniel, what do you think is the biggest threat? Is there an area where you feel like this team may be a little weak, or a point where you feel like this could make or break the game for this team? I know you said it's a mental game as well, important to keep in mind.
I think there's so much pressure. I mean, in fact, we're talking about this right now. There's young players on this team. It's the first World Cup. How they deal with the pressure so far, they've just gotten by. I mean, the last game, the last minute, there was the other team had a shot against goal that went off the post. If it had gone in, we wouldn't be here talking about this. So how they deal with the pressure, I think, which is what you identified early on, is a key to the game this weekend.
All right, and I think the big question, we've got about 5 seconds left. Can they do a three-peat?
Well, I'm not predicting a three-peat. It does look like they're struggling here.
All right, Daniel Kaplan, thank you so much for your analysis and for joining us.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.